Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we are doing a reading plan with me while we are talking about the 8 ways to pay off debt. But if this is your first video, hi, I'm Alaina, and this is The Organized Money, where we talk about planning life and managing money. If that interests you, then make sure that you click that subscribe button, as I would love for you to be a part of our little family. So why did I pick this topic? Well, when I searched on YouTube and Google, I noticed that many of the articles and videos were focused on 1 or 2 ways. And I wanted to do a video that shared all of your options. Of course, there are financial strategies, there are mindset strategies, there are pros and cons to each one. So that's what we're definitely going to talk about today. Let's jump into the first strategy. The very first way to pay off debt is called the debt avalanche. This strategy has you paying off your debt in order of the highest interest rate. So how do you do this? You make a list of all of your debts and arrange them from the highest interest rate to the lowest interest rate. You pay the minimum payment on all of your debt and then put any extra money that you have toward the debt with the highest rate. After you pay it off, then you move on to the next highest interest rate until you pay them all off. So now let's look at an example of what this might look like. We're going to look at 4 different types of debt. An auto loan that has a balance of $15,000 and an interest rate of 4.5%. A credit card that has a balance of $7,000 at 22%. Student loan, which is at $25,000 with an interest rate of 5.5%. And a personal loan at $5,000 with an interest rate of 10%. Based on this payoff method, you would pay off your credit card first because it has the highest interest rate at 22%. Then you would pay the personal loan, the student loan, and then lastly, the auto loan. Now this is the best way to pay off debt because you end up paying less interest over time, which means that you end up really saving money. However, a lot of people do get discouraged with this method because it takes some time to see progress. So if you know you're the type of person that needs to see progress quickly, then this may not be the best method for you. The second way to pay off debt is probably one of the most popular ways, and it is the debt snowball method. This strategy has you paying off debt with the lowest balance first. You make a list of all of your debts and arrange them from the lowest balance to the highest balance. Then you pay the minimum payment on all of your debt and put any extra money that you have toward the debt with the lowest balance. After you pay off that one, then you add all of the money that you were paying toward the first debt to the next debt, and it starts to snowball. This is one of the best strategies for mindset. If you need to see quick wins and get that momentum going, then this is definitely the method for you. So looking at the example that we had before, it would rearrange how we pay off our debt. We would end up paying the personal loan first, then credit card, auto loan, and then the student loan. The third way to pay off debt is one of my favorites, and it is the emotional method. The emotional method has you paying off the debt that gives you the most emotional stress. With this method, you would arrange your debt based on the one that you can't wait to get out of your life. There are so many reasons that certain debt affects us in ways. It could be a reminder of a bad relationship or a bad time in our life, and getting rid of it can feel like a fresh start. So you would arrange your debt based on the one that gives you emotional stress and throw all of your extra money toward it. After you pay that one off, then you move to the next one. This is another great strategy for mindset and self-care. It's a way to take control of the things that aren't serving you and get rid of them. So the fourth strategy is a balance transfer. If you have a credit card with a high interest rate, you could transfer that account to another one with a lower interest rate, or you could open up a new account with a 0 interest for a certain amount of time. Many cards offer 0 APR for an introductory period, often 6 months to 18 months, and you can actually use this to pay off your debt without incurring any extra charges. For example, let's say you have a credit card that has $6,000 on it at 18% APR. You could transfer the balance to that card that offers 0% APR for 12 months. If you pay off that card within the 12 months, you would actually save yourself more than $600 in interest. The one thing that you have to watch out with these cards though is to make sure that there aren't any balance transfer fees or any penalties associated with the card. The other thing that you really have to watch out for if you do this method is to make sure your mindset is still in the right place, that you are focused on paying off debt. Because you're able to do a balance transfer, that also leaves the card that you move the money from to be completely available to you, which means that you could get yourself in a bunch of trouble if you continue to charge on that card and the new one that you got. So you got to be careful with that. Make sure that you are focused and that you are making sure that you are going to pay off that card and get out of debt. The fifth way to pay off debt is another one of my favorites, and it is the highest minimum payment. You are paying off the debt that gives you the most relief in your budget. You're paying off the one that has the highest minimum payment. So we're going to look at another example, taking our four debts, and that's our auto loan, $15,000, 4.5%, but we're going to say it has a $700 minimum payment. Credit card of $7,000, 22% interest rate, minimum payment $300. Student loan at $25,000, 5.5% in interest, $400 minimum payment. And the personal loan, $5,000, 10% interest rate, $100 minimum payment. You would pay off the auto loan first since it has the highest minimum payment of $700. After you finish paying this off and putting all your extra money toward this particular one, this would actually put the most money back into your budget. So it would increase momentum over time and give you that big win that you need. The sixth way to pay off debt is using a personal loan. In situations where you have many different types of debts and different types of due dates, paying them off with a low rate interest personal loan could be a good idea, especially if you have a bunch of different types of debts and a bunch of different due dates and you need the simplicity of this method. You could consolidate them all and only have one payment. If you have a bunch of credit cards, consolidating credit card debt into a personal loan can really help your credit score overall, because a personal loan is an installment loan and its balance to limit ratio doesn't hurt your credit the way that revolving accounts may too. So this is a good method. You definitely should look into it. It does hold the same challenge as a balance transfer does. You definitely want to make sure you are in the right mindset, that you are focused on paying off your debt, because once again, you transfer everything over to this personal loan, which means now you have all of this credit that's available to you, and you want to make sure that you don't start using your credit cards again and get yourself in even more trouble. Strategy number 7 is debt settlement. Now, this strategy usually works for people who are already past due on their debt and they have no way of catching up, but they can afford to make a one-time large payment, a debt settlement payment. So debt settlement is a negotiation with a creditor, like a credit card company or a collection agency, where they will agree to take a partial payment. You may be eligible if you are going through some type of hardship like a divorce, or maybe you've just lost your job. But just make sure that if you do this, that you get it in writing. There are a lot of scammers in this area and a lot of agencies that will act like you never called them. So make sure that if you do decide to go the debt settlement route, that you get it in writing and you get it mailed to you before you make the big payment. But this could be a great way to get a fresh start if you have the money that's needed in order to make the large payment and settle the debt. And strategy number 8 is bankruptcy. This is for people who have nowhere else to turn. When you have reached your limits, you have nowhere else to turn, and you really need a fresh start. Now, this should definitely be a last resort because bankruptcy can devastate your credit. There are 2 types of bankruptcy. It's Chapter 7, which often requires you to surrender up your property. So you would have to give up your car, give up your house. And there's also Chapter 13, which allows you to actually keep your property. You will definitely need to talk to a lawyer, and this can be a very long and expensive process. So you should definitely look at all of the other ways before you pick this one. Do not take this one lightly because it's so expensive and it's so devastating in your credit. You want to make sure that you think it through as much as possible. So these are the 8 ways that you can pay down debt. Now, I did a full class on all 8 of these ways where we dived into the pros and cons, examples, everything that we kind of did here, just a more extended version. So if you're interested in that class, I will link it below. It's absolutely free because I do Money Monday classes every Monday, absolutely free. So look in the description box if you want to catch that. And I will see you in Friday's video. Until next time, keep organizing your life so that you can achieve your dreams. Bye, guys.